Hey, how's it going? It's Ollie here. So today we're going to examine 5 smash hit products on Amazon. I'm going to break you down what the product is, rough explanation of what it's for, and then why I think it's a really good opportunity. We've got some products here which are hot trends now, which I believe do have a future or could have a future. Some more boring products which will just sell all year round and probably sell forever, which is the kind of products I usually like, and some other stuff as well to look at. So, without further ado, let's dive in. First one I want to show you is something that's actually been blowing up on TikTok, of all places, recently. I keep seeing it everywhere, and it's a hot trend, and I think it's got potential to keep selling after the rush. One thing you have to be careful with hot trends is they can fizzle out. So what that really is an inventory problem or an inventory consideration. Don't order too much, because right now it's hot, we don't know the future, but this one doesn't seem too crazy. It's not a fidget spinner, you know, it's not a massive craze, but anyway, right now it's doing well. So I'm going to show you how I break down the niche, and you can see whether you want to have a look into it or not. So first thing I always look at when analysing niches is the revenue, or in other words, the demand in the marketplace. So right now, the number one seller in this niche, if it's all loaded, is doing $188,000 per month in sales. So if you just imagine for a second, if you just pause and imagine for a second, that you launched one product on Amazon and it started to do nearly 200 grand a month in sales. This is just how life-changing this opportunity really can be if you get it right and you launch something that's hot. Like, this seller really is just obviously importing this stuff from China, and it's really a very simple business model. They've literally just sourced this pop fidget toy, and now they're making 200 grand a month. Extremely simple, and this just shows you the power of selling on Amazon, right? This is really doable. And let's have a look at the competition. So the competition has been climbing in this niche recently because people are starting to catch on to this trend, obviously. So you do have to watch for it. So there's 8 sellers with more than 500 reviews. Now I usually look for 5 or less. However, there's one thing you have to consider when it comes to demand versus competition in a niche, and that is the competition to demand ratio, right? In other words, when there's loads and loads and loads of demand, like insane levels of demand that we're seeing here with sellers making nearly 200k a month, and pretty much the whole first page is doing more than 3k a month in sales, I'll allow for a little bit more competition because there's so much room in this niche that actually there's room for you to compete. Like, what you're trying to do when you're selling these products is get a slice of the demand pie on page 1. This is a big pie. So if you just had a tiny slice of a pie that's making, say, let's say this whole page is doing, say, $1 million a month, a small slice of that is still at 10, 20 grand a month, right? Also, there's a load of beacon products. So what I describe as a beacon product is a product where the sales are really high, but the reviews are really low. It indicates a new seller who's just launched, who's crushing it. And there's so many, like, look at this person here, 53k a month in sales with only 8 reviews. I mean, they probably launched, you know, it could be weeks ago that they launched, and they're already making 50 grand a month. So yeah, do not take this niche lightly. Yes, it's a trend. We don't know how long it's going to be hot for. It could last, it could not. But if you manage to jump on it quick enough, probably make some sales. Just don't over order inventory if it starts selling well, because who knows when it's going to fizzle out, right? Okay, next niche, something slightly more boring and slightly less trendy, but also kind of current and relevant, is this one, vaccination card holders. Pretty simple products, right? This is just a thing you hang around your neck with the card on to show you've got a vaccine, just to make it easy for people to see that you've got your jab, right? Lots of people are using these now in different careers, and they've become just a necessity for a lot of people. So what that means is they sell really well, right? The demand's super high, and this isn't the kind of thing you're going to see all over TikTok. And this isn't the kind of thing that's going to fizzle out necessarily when the trend goes. I mean, yes, as COVID starts to disappear eventually, hopefully, you know, they may not be so relevant, but I don't think that's going to happen really soon. I think we still need to know about vaccines and stuff, at least for the next probably couple years, right? So we've got time. And yeah, again, the demand's crazy. So there's number one seller here is doing $163,000 a month. There's loads of sellers doing a really decent revenue. I say decent is 3K a month minimum. And the reviews compared to the demand, not too high. Now the competition here is higher than the previous one, the toy. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 sellers with more than 500 reviews. So it's a bit more competitive. However, again, the ratio, right? Super high demand means we can allow for a few more sellers with a lot of reviews. And as always, beacon products are good. Like this one here with 72 reviews, probably launched, relatively recently, making 24K a month. Shows that new sellers can still slot themselves in. Again, it's going to be a bit harder than the toy, but it's still possible. What's next? Massage hula hoop with LED. So this is an interesting product. There's a video here for how it works. Essentially, it's for exercise, right? So it's a hoop, lights up. I'm assuming you can do lots of different exercises and yoga type stuff with it. Kind of interesting. Product I've never seen before, which is kind of, fascinating. This is the kind of thing you can do with it. Looks, kind of useful, right? Very unique. One thing about this product is, as you can see, it's got LEDs. So what that means is it's an electronic. One thing about electronics, personally, I avoid them. And the reason why is because you have to be very careful about quality, right? And I personally just don't have the energy to check every single product to make sure it's working when it's landed in the UK or in America or wherever. Inspect the products before they leave the warehouse to make sure the quality is high. Work with the supplier to make sure the circuitry and all that stuff is really good when the products are being built. It's not just cheap electronics that's going to break in 6 months. And it just takes a little bit more effort to find a good quality product and therefore have happy customers. Like if you compare this to just a little bit of plastic, like this has no moving parts, it's very simple, whereas this has circuitry, electronics, wires. A lot more can go wrong, basically. However, with that in mind, a lot of Amazon sellers agree with me and they don't want to deal with electronics. So if you can find a way to make it work, then actually the chances of you making a lot of money are very high. Electronics sell extremely well. So if you can do that, you can make crazy sales. I know people who do sell electronics. And yes, there's a bit more returns. Yes, there's a bit more hassle getting the product to market. But once they do, they have less competition and the sales are just incredible. So it is a good business model, but you just need to be careful. Anyway, with that in mind, with that warning in mind, let's have a look at the niche. By the way, of course, I'm using Amazon Scout, AMZ Scout, to analyze the niche. This is my current favorite software. I use it all the time. One thing that really I like about it, aside from other extensions and software analysis tools, is it doesn't make me log in every single time I use it. Like some other softwares keep making me log in all the time. It's very frustrating when I'm doing this all day and always doing it, right? So at the moment, I'm using it constantly. Of course, there's a link in the description if you want to check it out and get a free trial. So again, insanely high revenue. This is what we want, right? So number one seller here is making $336,000 a month. Can you imagine that? $336,000 a month. If you imagine that's a 33% profit margin, let's just pretend it is. Could be lower, could be higher. That's 100 grand a month profit. That's 1.2 million a year profit with this product. Pretty incredible. And there's plenty of sellers doing really, really, really well here. So demand's insanely high. Reviews, again, a little bit more competitive than I would want, but because of the insanely high demand, it's okay, right? There's Beacon products. There's someone here with 38 reviews doing 12k a month. 12k a month for a private label, by the way, is insanely good money. Like, that's probably 2-3k a month profit. It's probably enough for most people to completely cover the income from their job, right? And if this seller can do it and they're new, then again, it proves that this is doable. Another seller here with 19 reviews. Another seller with 15 reviews to making 50k a month, right? So again, slightly higher competition than I want, but because of the demand, it's okay. One to look into, if you can source the product that's from a manufacturer that makes really good quality electronics, then yeah, you'll like it. There's probably also some options, by the way, without the LEDs that aren't electronic. So have a look out for those as well. Next, solar fountain pump with LED lights. Okay, so another electronic, so you know my thoughts on it, right? I've said my piece, got my lecture on that. This product could be seasonal, so remember that, right? It's a pump for a water fountain. Probably not going to be used in the winter. Although if you're selling in America, I mean Florida, they'll probably use it all year, I'd imagine. So it will sell, but it'll probably peak in the summer. So just bear in mind, when you're ordering stock, probably wouldn't order 10,000 units in September, right? Because you're going into the lull of the year. Whereas if you order, say, in March, you're going to ride the wave, which is a better idea. Let's analyze it. Hit the AMZ Scout button again. Let's have a look. For some reason this one's taking a little bit longer to load. Alrighty, here we go. So demand, again, really, really good, right? Obviously not quite as good as the other products, but it's still incredible. I mean, I usually want at least 3 sellers with 3k a month in revenue. That's what I look for, because that means, you know, the product sells, it's popular, there's lots of different designs of the product that are selling, and we have a good chance to get good results. This way outperforms what we're looking for. Top sellers making 100 grand a month, which is incredible. In terms of reviews, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 sellers with more than 500 reviews. Again, a little higher than usual, but these niches are different because the revenue's so high, it doesn't matter, right? We've got a niche score of 8 here, according to AMZ Scout, which is useful. Something you can look at. Be careful, don't go 100% by the niche score. That doesn't take into account that it's an electronic, right? Which is just something you just have to decide if you want to sell that or not. But it's there, and it can really help you just to get an average of what the software thinks of the niche. Next product we have is a wire and cable organizer box. So this is a pretty simple product, right? It's a box. Obviously, you get loads of cables. If I look at my desk right now, there's cables everywhere. Right near my coffee table in the living room, there's cables everywhere. This box helps you just keep them tidy. I'm assuming if you have a career or a job where you use lots of cables as well, this will help you tidy it. This video illustrates really well what the product does. I'm going to pull up AMZ Scout so we can see some of the stats. One good thing about this product is the price point is nice and high. So this one here is actually a 2-pack. And it's selling for $118. That means you probably have very high profit margins in this niche. Usually the higher the price of the product, the higher the profit margins for private labels. So lots of room to make profit, lots of room to spend on advertising, which is always a good sign. Again, revenue's looking really healthy. Loads of sellers with more than 3k a month in sales. Reviews, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sellers with more than 500 reviews, which again, really, really okay compared to the revenue, right? You know, close enough to 5 sellers with 500 reviews or more, but for the revenue, I mean, it's, yeah, absolutely fine. So yeah, not too bad of a product at all. It's certainly something to look at. See what products you can source that would add value to this niche. As always, that's what we want to be doing. Offer something different, something better to what these sellers are offering. And yeah, that is your list of 5 smash hit products to go and check out and launch on Amazon. Hopefully the breakdowns that I've given you give you a little bit of perspective as to what we're looking for with these products and what we're not looking for when we're doing our product research, because there's things you want to avoid and there's things you want to specifically look for, right? And hopefully just by going through some products that are good opportunities, you can see what kind of products to sell. Now for me, usually I look for niches where there's slightly less competition, less than 5 sellers with more than 500 reviews. But again, the demand versus competition ratio is so important to understand. Like if there's really not much demand, let's say there's 3 sellers with 3,000 per month in sales, that like just meets the demand. You would probably want way less than 5 sellers with more than 500 reviews. You probably want like 1 or 2. But if there's sellers making 200 grand a month in the niche and there's loads of them, then you can handle a little bit more competition. It's a bit of a nuance there to understand, but it's important because it broadens your horizons and allows you to examine more potential niches. All right, hope this has been helpful. Click the link in the description if you want to check out the AMZ Scout tool so you can analyze these niches along with me. There's a link there to get a free trial and a discount as well, so check it out and we'll catch up very soon.